Hey everyone, I'm Jeff St. Pierre, and this is the second episode of the Unskippables podcast, part of the Adult Education Podcast Network. This week, I am joined by Chad Michael Jervis. First of all, thank you to everyone who took a listen to the first episode with Josh Partington and Matt Burnett. The response to this idea so far has been great, and I'm really just excited to see how this show can grow. Now, unfortunately, I did choose to launch it toward the end of 2025, so this might be the last episode before we get into the new year, but I am looking forward to sharing more great conversations in 2026. Now, I knew when I started planning this show out that there would be some interesting album choices, and that's exactly what I wanted. I don't want to necessarily just discuss the quote-unquote greatest albums of all time. I want to talk about the ones that the fans really love, and I want to find out why they hit so hard in different ways. This week's album is one that came way out of left field, and I am so happy about it. My guest is Chad Michael Jervis. Chad has been working in Nashville for the last few years. Currently, he's working on some solo material, but he spent a few years with the country group King Callaway. Prior to that, Chad studied at Berklee College of Music and had spent time with the band The House on the Cliff. When I hit him up to see if he'd like to do this with me, he jumped at the opportunity, and he knew, like, literally in the first second exactly what album he wanted to talk about. So I hope that you enjoy our conversation about Foxy Shazam's self-titled album from 2010.
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand. I think we all are hanging in there.
It feels that way, right? Kind of feels like we're just on the edge all the time.
Yeah. It's not a fun feeling.
No, but you know what? We're going to have fun today.
I know, man. I'm excited. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited for this, man.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad. When I was kind of toying with this idea, I was like, there's definitely a lot of cool people that I've met over the years in our industry, artists, producers, whatever. And I was like, Chad is definitely at the top of my list of people I want to reach out to. So
I appreciate that, man. Well, you were always very kind to King Callaway during those days. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. So I'm excited for this, man. This will be a lot of fun.
All right, episode 2 of the Unskippables here, and we have got Chad Michael Jervis. Chad, it is so good to see you, man.
Hello. How's it going, man? Good to see you.
Going good. Yeah, this is great. Chad, if you're not familiar with him, he's from Wilmington, Delaware. Delaware's finest, ladies and gentlemen. Quite a musical history. You went to Berklee College of Music. You toured the country with your own band when you were doing that. You made it. Did you make it on American Idol? Were you actually on the show?
So my taped audition wasn't on the show.
Okay.
I did make it to like the taped auditions. It was the first season that ABC was doing it. It was the first season that like Katie and Lionel and Luke were the judges. I was there on the first day that they got together. I was there. It was in New York. It was their first day of shooting, and I was audition number 1.
Oh my gosh.
I was like kind of like their tests, bunny essentially. So it didn't make it on the air because they were still like working out the kinks of everything, but they were all very kind. They were all very sweet. And so it was a cool time. It was a cool time.
Well, then after that, we'll fast forward just a little bit after that whole process. You ended up making it down to Nashville. You joined the group King Callaway, had a few strong years with those guys. And now you're out here on your own doing your own singer-songwriter thing, right?
Yeah. So I took a little bit of a break from music after King Callaway.
Sure.
Just because we spent so many years on the road, and I needed some time in Nashville, like with my homies, and just kind of like get back to real life for a second and step back from music. Because of that, like I'm now starting to write music again. That's just like starting to feel like me. It's starting to feel like I've never put out a solo project before. So figuring that out has been really exciting, and figuring out like what my voice is as a solo artist is now. And I'm very excited. Hopefully in the next year, we'll have something in the works, something out. So yeah.
I can't wait to hear it, man. And I don't want to dive too much onto this because I do want to get into the album that you chose for this episode. But I don't think people fully understand how much effort and how much work goes into any project. So, I mean, just taking a look at King Callaway, you talked about how, like, there are people that might not know that name, but gosh, you guys were on the road everywhere. You were visiting radio stations. Everything you could possibly do in like a 4-year, 5-year timeline. I mean, you guys did it. I mean, you were out there. Road dogs is the term that comes to mind for King Callaway.
We were for sure road dogs. We spent a lot of time in a small van.
Yeah.
And I'm 30 years old now, and that's still young, but I don't feel 30. I feel like I'm like 65 after all of that. But it's still like I have so many amazing memories
Yeah.
from that too as well. So like I love those guys, and they're each doing their own thing right now, and they're all just killing it right now, and I'm super proud of them. I love those boys so much.
Well, I can't wait to hear your music when you got it coming out, but let's dive into the show here because the
Yeah.
Unskippables is all about paying tribute to the albums that we love. We've heard, the experts talk about the greatest albums of all time over and over and over again. I want to dive into the albums that music fans, musicians, whoever, the albums that they really love. So I want to hear from your opinion, what is the album we're talking about today?
We are talking about Foxy Shazam's self-titled record from 2010. I first heard of this record I first heard of Foxy Shazam like 5 years after this record came out.
Okay.
I remember I was in a band in Boston when I was living there, and we were in Austin for South by Southwest in like 2015. We went to the famous Waterloo Records and like went in and like bought like a bunch of CDs and records, stuff like that. And my bass player, William, he bought the record and he was like, guys, this is the greatest album of all time. And I was like, all right, sweet. Put it in. I'd never heard of this band before. And instantly, like from the first track on, I was just like, it probably is the greatest album of all time. It's very eccentric. It's very all over the place. The energy is just like seems like to be like high all the time, except for like small moments of like really intimate and vulnerable songs. But and I come from like a musical theater background, so I love like big shows and
Sure.
stuff like that. And so this kind of just reminded me like of that. It's an album that I keep coming back to every once in a while. Like when you messaged me about this, I had just gotten back into the album.
Oh, that's
And I was
great.
like, okay, this is perfect. We have to do Foxy Shazam then.
It's funny when I had this idea, like this is exactly what I wanted from the concept of this
Yeah.
show, because I wanted there to be albums that people choose that are outside the box, not the ones that you think about all the time. But I'll also tell you that in no scenario ever did I think somebody was going to pick Foxy Shazam. When you messaged me back about that, I was like,
Yes.
oh yes, we are doing it. We are getting into Foxy Shazam.
That's exactly the reaction that I wanted. So that's great.
Oh, it's perfect. So a little background about Foxy Shazam for those that are not familiar with the name. They came together in 2004. They're from Cincinnati, Ohio. Their debut album came out in 2005 called The Flamingo Trigger. Initially, they were signed to a record label called Ferret Music, which for people that don't know, Ferret was really big into like the early 2000s hardcore and metal scene, which was really weird because if you listen to Foxy Shazam, I guess they have some hard rock elements mixed in, but I would never classify them in that sort of metalcore scene at all. Like they do not fit that vibe. But for some reason, Ferret Records was like, we're doing this. The album we're discussing today did come out on a major label, Sire Records. It was produced by John Feldman, who you might know. He did a bunch of albums for people like The Used. Again, like this sort of pop punk and rock background with them. The Used, 5 Seconds of Summer was a big project for John Feldman. So many more over the years. Critics love this record, but I don't think it ever grabbed everyone. It never really got to the heights that I think people thought it could go to. You already dove in a little bit about your memories of this album here, but you said you just recently got back into it. What are you hearing now, all these years after, initially discovering them? What are you hearing now and reminding you of?
I think I'm listening more to the songwriting aspect. I think at first I was very much, attracted to just the show, like the overall, like the big show that is the album. It feels like the album feels like a circus, really.
Yes.
And so that like I was 20 years old when I first heard this album. I was just overwhelmed from what I was hearing. But now I'm like listening more into the lyric. I'm listening more into like things that like 2010s lingo that wouldn't necessarily like relate to like a now audience, but it works though. It just works. And so, and also like there, like even especially in the song like Second Floor, where I think he's talking about his experience in the industry. He's like, so long to the second floor. It's been fun, but I don't belong out there. like in the industry out there with you wolves and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like after my experience, I was like, I remember hearing that song for the first time after King Callaway broke up, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like crying in my car. I was just like, but yeah, I'm definitely listening more to the lyrics, and it's so beautifully written album. Yeah.
I've always been more of a music listener versus a lyrics listener. So for me, when I listen to stuff like this, I mean, there's just so much going on in all of these songs, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I'm glad that you got into the lyric side of things, because that is somewhere where I kind of lack. Like the poetry of songs, I miss out on a lot because I don't know, like I vibe with the harmony, I vibe with the changes in the music and just what attracts my attention that way. So I'm glad that you've got that the lyric side of things here too, to really bring in to the story for the album.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I will say my memory of them initially, because I was kind of in the hardcore metal scene back in the early 2000s. And I remember Ferret dropping this album. And there was a period of time where, I'm a little bit older than you, Chad, but there was a period of time where, like, if a record label that you knew put an album out, especially an indie label, you just got it because you were like, I like everything else in this label. I know what their vibe is. I'm going to like this too. And I remember getting the Foxy Shazam record. I think it was their second album. And I was like, okay, what in the hell did I just get myself into? Like, this is not what I was expecting at all. But there's also this coolness to it, because it was like, yeah, this is 2006, maybe 7, and nobody was doing what they were doing. Like, it was a totally unique thing.
I think they were like, and kind of like what you said, like that album and Foxy, like they didn't really take off at that time, which you listen back to their stuff now, and it's like, how come they did not blow up? How come they weren't like the biggest band in the world? And I just think they were just way beyond their time. Like they were just thinking so far ahead of the curve. But you kind of you're seeing some of their success now, because I know they took a bit of a hiatus, like from like, it was like 2014 to like 2020. And Oh Lord, a song from this album, is now like one of the main songs in the HBO show, the Peacemaker show with John Cena.
I think it's the theme song of the show, isn't it?
I think
something like that.
It might be, yeah. Because I remember I was watching something on HBO, and a preview came up for Peacemaker, and I hear "Oh Lord," and I was like, finally, finally, somebody is recognizing genius.
They're back in full force right now. They've put out like 5 albums in the last 5 years or something. It's insane how much music they're putting out right now.
I know they're back in full swing, and I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see them get some of the recognition they deserve. I think they deserve more, but I'm happy to see that they're finally like, there's like a spotlight on them now, which is great.
So let's talk really quick before we dive into some of the songs that we really like on this record. Let's talk about like the sound, I guess, in general, because you and I have both been saying how crazy and wild and big and epic this sound is, but we haven't really talked about what the sound is. And I think this is a really difficult question for an artist like Foxy Shazam, because it's really hard to pinpoint exactly what you would call this music.
Yeah. I mean, I think overall it is there. It's whatever version of rock and roll it is. Like it is at its core, it's rock and roll, but like there's big band stuff, there's horns, there's like kind of like elements of disco in it a little bit. Even if that wasn't their intention, there you can hear some of that influence. It's just all over the place, but at its core, it's rock and roll.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's elements of Queen in there.
Oh,
I do hear some of the punk rock elements in there too. Like I do hear like some My Chemical Romance kind of like mixed in there. Not quite as dark. It's a very flashy, seemingly very bright album, but you still have like those kind of elements from that, Welcome to the Black Parade era, the big epic, songs coming together kind of vibe.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that's the ultimate goal, is like, obviously, like you want to categorize yourself into a genre for sure when you're coming out. But like at the end of the day, you want somebody to hear like a second of your song and be like, oh, that must be Foxy Shazam.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think they accomplished that. Like you hear a second of a Foxy song, I'm like, oh, even if I've never heard the song before, I was like, this must be a Foxy Shazam song for sure.
And I think they hit it right out of the gate too with that whole intro. It's intro/bombs away if you're looking at the track listing. I mean, you have like a few seconds of, whatever, but then it just comes right into bombs away and you're like, oh boy, I am in for a ride right now.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I love that intro with like the dogs and like the yelling at the beginning and like that big scream right into bombs away. It just sets up the vibe so perfectly. Like it's like you are gonna be on the craziest roller coaster ride you've ever been on. Buckle up. we're going in.
And that's what a first song needs to be. In my opinion, the first song sort of needs to set the tone for the album.
Yeah.
And I think Bombs Away does a great job with that. In fact, the first episode of this show, we discussed the album August and Everything After by the Counting Crows. And the first song on that album, which I didn't realize till going back and listening to it, the first song on that album was Round Here. And if you listen to that record, Round Here does not set the tone for the album the way that I think it should. Like Round Here to me is an interesting choice for the first song on an album. But boy, Foxy Shazam with Bombs Away, they nailed it. Like that is track one.
It just like sets the tone perfectly for the rest of the record. Like you know what you're getting into. You know exactly what you're getting into. And there's still surprises along the way, which is great, but they just perfectly set the tone.
From your aspect being in a band, I think this question is interesting to me, but you've put together EPs, you've put together albums. What is the pressure like to find that first song? Like, is that a hard thing for you guys to do?
Yeah, it's tough. And you kind of like, you change your mind all the time because it's like, man, it's like you want to curate the best representation of where your band or your artistry is at that current place in time. And so the first song is the first impression that people get of where you're at in your musicality at that moment, at your album or on your EP or whatever. So the first song is really just like it really kind of determines, is this worth me listening to the rest of the album or not? So if it's like kind of like a lackluster opener, people aren't going to be really engaged and really want to continue on to the record. But if you have a starter that's like, even if it's not like all in your face, like loud, crazy, even if it's something vulnerable, but like still entices you, like it's such an important, like the first song is like, I think there was a while where I thought like, it doesn't matter, the songs are great. I'm like, yeah, the songs are great, but it does matter the order of how it goes in. Like you need ebbs and flows, you need like peaks and valleys, you need all of that. Like you need to like perfectly curate like what the album is supposed to represent.
I'm glad to hear that's still something that artists think about because
absolutely.
The way that we listen to music now has clearly changed over the last, especially in the last like 10 to 15 years, but over the last 20 years, 25 years since the iPod came out and everything, the way we listen to music has just been very different because you just make a playlist, you find the songs you like, you jump around. So I love to hear that there are still artists out there that are really taking that into consideration to make sure that they lay out an album the way they want it to be heard, the way that they think it should be heard.
Well, especially because we've been living in a singles world for so long. So I think now it's even more important to like really think about what's going to be the first song that opens up, and then how are we going to tell the story throughout the rest of the record so that people will listen to it, people will hold on, like people will keep listening to it basically. So I think it's even more important now than it was 10, 20 years ago, basically.
Yeah. All right. So Chad, so something I learned in the first episode of this show doing the interview, we can't really go track by track on the album because it'll just take 7 hours and we don't have that much time. So give me a song you like. Let's take a look at another track.
Let's start with Wanna Be Angel. I think that's probably my favorite one from the album for sure.
All right. So what is it about that song that really like steps it up for you? What stands out for you?
I think it's the message of the song that just kind of like Eric kind of talks about like how he's kind of an outcast and how people have this perception of him and who he is, and everyone's perception is kind of bullshit because they just don't know who he is. And like he has the lyrics like, to you I'll wear this mask, come on now, tear it off, and I don't need it anymore, I'm a wannabe angel. To me, that's just like, it's like an ultimate like, fuck you. Like you know who I am. Oh, wait till you hear this, basically. So I love Wannabe Angel is just like, again, and it's like the second song on the
Yeah.
album. Like it still packs a punch after like this huge intro. The energy still is consistent, which is awesome.
It's one of the songs on the album too. I'll be honest, I really enjoyed going through this and going back to it. So I'm glad you picked this record. I don't know if it's one that I have the same appreciation for as a whole, but I do. I mean, I think there's some, very great diamonds in the rough here. And I think Wannabe Angel is one where that to me is what they want to sound like. Like that to me is what Foxy Shazam went in the studio going, okay, this is who we are. That's Wannabe Angel. There's some other songs on there where I feel like they're trying to sound like something else or they're trying to fit a vibe. But Wannabe Angel to me just exemplifies exactly what they thought they were at that time.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I kind of feel the same way. Like, it's like they're really, honing into their identity of who they want to be and just kind of like saying like, kind of like what I said before, you think you know who I am? You have no fucking clue.
Right.
You have no clue. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, like it's big, it's up tempo. Like the way, if you were just to take the lyrics that you were just saying on face value, you would think that it might be a heavier song, but it's like a really, like if you take lyrics out, it's such a great pop rock record.
Tune.
Yeah.
It's a fun song and it's hooky. Like that chorus is hooky. It's just, I'm a wannabe angel. Like, and it gets in your head. It gets in your head like super quick. And so I remember that was a song that when I first heard the record, that song definitely left a big impression on me. Like I was really blown away by that song.
Has this album, has it inspired your own personal songwriting over the years? Now, if anybody's listened to King Callaway and other projects of yours, they might not hear Foxy Shazam so much, but I wonder, like, just listening to the way they put things together and the way that they did their work, did that inspire you in the way you do yours?
I think there's a level of authenticity that that's really beautiful. And I think that's kind of like what I'm craving now in my, like what I'm working on now. It's just like, I just want to believe in what I'm singing, because if I don't believe it, nobody else is going to believe it. Like no one else is going to get the message and listen and believe it. And so I think when I hear Foxy Shazam sing a lyric, I believe that shit. I believe it.
Authenticity is a big word for this, for sure.
Exactly. So I obviously, like, am I making music like Foxy Shazam?
No.
No. but I love it, and I think there are elements of it, like especially in the lyric writing, that's playful, that's kind of tongue in cheek, that I kind of want to incorporate some of that in stuff that I work on, like I feel like it all doesn't have to be like, you can poke fun at certain things and not take it so seriously, not take life so seriously. These guys just don't take it seriously. They just have fun, which is, I love that. I absolutely love that. And like elements of that, I want to, like, I think about that. I try to incorporate that in what I want to do, basically.
Yeah, as you should, I appreciate that. As a fan of music, I appreciate people that put that effort into it and try to be authentic. I can't even tell you in my years working in country radio, how many records and songs we would come across our desks where we're just like, I don't believe any of this. Like
exactly.
Like it's a fine song, but like there's nothing about it that's going to make me be like, wow, like I really buy into this product. It's not there.
Yeah, exactly. And there's like, and it's especially now with like the rise of like AI, with like AI like making tunes now, like the thing that people are craving most, just like I just want to believe in what the person is saying. I want to believe them. I want to like feel something. I like, if the artist that's singing is like really feeling and having like an emotional reaction, it translates to the audience. It just like, even if it's not your favorite song, if you can still feel the emotion in it, that means everything. That's what music and art is about. It's about like translating like feeling from the artist to the people that it's like the people receiving it, basically. I think that's just so important, like especially in this day now.
And I think that's part of the reason why live music seems to have really taken the next
Yeah.
step over the last few years too. And in fact, the song Count Me Out on this album, the only note that I made about it in my notes was, I want to see it live. Like that was the one.
Yeah.
I said, this song, I said, there's a vibe here. I want to see it live. And that's like, that's my first thought on so many songs of Foxy Shazam is I kind of want them to tour through my city and I want to go see this set live because I bet it's epic.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder, do you think they tour with like a whole horn section, or do you think it's like, I wonder what their tour looks like?
I haven't seen them live.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen them live recently. I know back in the day they would like tour with like probably like 2 or 3 horn section, but I don't know what their setup is now. I would assume they just go all out. Like you can't be Foxy Shazam without that, in my opinion. And so if I went to a Foxy show and there wasn't a horn section, I'd leave. I'd be like, I'm out of here. I'm like, goodbye. This is not the show I came to see.
It's like going to see a ska band with only guitars. You're like, wait a second.
Exactly.
The big piece of this puzzle missing here. I need this.
Exactly.
So I mentioned earlier, like, I think there's a Queen vibe to a lot of their stuff. I just think vocally and just the way that he performs, it's got a Freddie Mercury thing going on there.
Oh, yeah.
I really picked that up a lot in the song Evil Thoughts. Like, Evil Thoughts to me felt very much like maybe a current or an updated Queen. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, Evil Thoughts, like that's actually one that like that has been one that like at first I didn't really appreciate as much. And then when I was re-listening to it, like I have like a new connection with that song now, like 10 years after the fact when I first heard the record. I love that song. It's beautiful.
What else stood out to you? And is there another song that really stood out for you that you were like, man, I gotta talk about this one?
I mean, Oh Lord is just it's just like, talk about an anthem that people need right now, and a perfect song that like fit I didn't watch Peacemaker, but just like watching the trailer for it and like seeing it, like I think it's just a perfect song for right now. It's just like people are just like fucking hurting right now.
Yeah.
And it's just like keep on keeping on. And it's like people need a song like that to just remind them like there'll always be a wrong to your right. There'll always be a war somewhere to fight. Like those lyrics are just, they hit harder now than they did. Like when I first heard this album, that was one of the songs I first gravitated to for sure. But now when I reheard it like 10 years later, I'm just like, oh, like it's a powerful song.
I actually wondered when you suggested this album if you were a Peacemaker fan, because that I just know it's, a part of the new season of the show. Yeah. It's been top of mind a little bit. So I was like, oh, I wonder if Chad's
not
a Peacemaker
really
fan.
I appreciate the comic book movies. I appreciate the comic book series. I've had enough of them. I'm done.
Amen. Amen, brother. Amen.
Like if you love that stuff, good on you. Like I'm happy you love it. Like for me, I'm just like I'm out. Like I'm out. I saw like an interview with James Gunn about how he used it for the series, and I'm probably messed up the quote. He's like, arguably the greatest rock and roll band of all time. And I was like, yes, James Gunn. Yes, James Gunn. And that's the power of songs too. Like, I think we kind of neglect sometimes about how when we write a song and maybe it doesn't like get received at first, maybe it's just like when you first release it, it doesn't like have the impact that you thought it was going to have. But we forget like these things exist forever, and you never know when it will pop up, and you'll never know if like a James Gunn is going to be like, I love this song from 15 years ago. I'm going to put it in my series. And I just think like if it's good art, it's going to translate not just in that time, but it will translate like even years and decades later, basically. Even when you thought like it wasn't appreciated in its time, which this album true, Foxy Shazam, they were a very successful band, but they truly were not appreciated in their time.
Yeah.
And that I hate that, because I feel like when I first heard this album, I was just like, how come I've never heard this before? How come I've never heard this band? How come I've never seen a show of theirs? And at the time when I first heard it, they were in their hiatus.
Mhm.
And I remember just thinking like, what if they never get back together and I never see this band ever? And so it comes to show that like if you make something that had like back to the authenticity, if you make something that comes truly from you and you are conveying your authenticity in your art, like it will last even years later down the line. You never know what could happen with it, you know. And it goes the same for like songwriting. Like I live in Nashville, we live in a songwriter's town where someone will write a song and they'll be like, oh my God, this is like one of the greatest songs I have ever written in my life. And no one will pick it up, or either they'll release it and nothing will happen, or it will never, like, it won't get cut by another artist. And it's just like, well, at least I have it. And I have songwriter friends who was like, I wrote this song 10 years ago that I loved, never got cut, and that Kenny Chesney just cut it or something like that. And that's what I love about songs, is that like, especially like songs that like really cut deep. If it's not appreciated, it's time. It eventually it will be.
I wondered with Foxy Shazam, sometimes you hear people talk about artists and you hear them say, oh, they were ahead of their time. I wonder about Foxy if they were behind their time. Like, I feel like there was a moment in like 05, 06, like around that Welcome to the Black Parade era for My Chemical Romance, where big, epic rock songs, like you had Green Day doing American Idiot in 2004. The big epic rock songs were like 04 to 07. And then Foxy kind of hits the ground with this album in 2010. And you're like, oh, maybe you're just a couple years late for where you really would have fit in and you really would have had a chance to blow up.
Yeah. Well, and it also cycles too. I feel like like obviously the music is always different and the music's always evolving, but it kind of goes in cycles where, you know, mainstream pop is like a big thing at the time. Especially we've seen that in the last few years with like Chapel and Sabrina Carpenter and stuff like that. Like, and then it like it'll transition from like one era country isn't going to be a huge thing, another era country is. I feel like it went straight from like the last big era before this one was like the 90s for country, and now like it's just like it's huge again now. And then it will kind of transition into like maybe like kind of like that grunge punk feeling, but it won't necessarily be that. It will be another genre, but that feeling, that feeling will be there. So everything kind of like comes in cycles where like it's like people will crave authenticity, then people will crave like just like I just want something simple, you know, like it goes in areas, it goes in waves. That's the beauty about music. It's always changing. You never know what's gonna like meet the mark. So like it's kind of a weird thing with Foxy. Maybe they were like behind their time, but also they kind of were ahead of their time as well. Like they're in this weird pocket of just like maybe they did miss the mark with like where My Chemical Romance was at in 05 and 06. They're also ahead of their time because like I like you didn't hear a lot. Like he has a line in Wanna Be Angel where he says like, all you hipsters say I'm gay, I'm not gay at all. We weren't talking about that. We weren't talking about that in mainstream music. And now you hear that representation now all like pretty much all the time in mainstream music, where some of the biggest artists in music now are queer artists or LGBTQ artists. And so I think that's a beautiful thing. Like, I think that's a beautiful thing. Like he was kind of talking about things then. Eric was talking about things then in his music that I think more artists are talking about now. And so like in some ways he was behind, some ways he was ahead. It's an interesting thing. It's a very interesting thing.
All right, Chad, I like to wrap up each episode of the Unskippables with my version of Marry F Kill. I call it buy it, playlist it, or skip it. The basic idea is buying it is like you marry it, right? Like you're buying this album. It's a song that's good enough to make you want to buy the album. Playlist, a song you like and you want to keep it for later, but you know, it's not going to make you buy the album. You just like it. It's a vibe. And then skip it. I know the show is called Unskippables, but there's always going to be a song or two that you're just like, I don't need this song, you know? So what would be your buy it, playlist it, and skip it for this album from Foxy Shazam?
Buy it, I would probably go I would probably go with Wanna Be Angel for Buy It.
Okay.
Playlist it. I'm gonna playlist it. I'll do Killing It is a great that's such I feel like that's just like you put that on in a party setting and people are dancing and vibing to that and they love that. Skip it. What's that second? I forget the second to last song on the track list. What is it? It's like Demon Baby or something like
Teenage
that.
Demon Baby, one of the bonus songs. Yeah. Yeah, maybe not a necessary one.
Like, I appreciate it. Is that my favorite song? I don't think so. I appreciate what he was trying to do, what they were trying to do there, but it's just like, this is too much for me. And so I would probably skip one.
Perfect. I actually made a note about Teenage Demon Baby myself. I just said, I can see this in a musical. Like it felt very musical theater to me. Like it was kind of all over the place.
It is. It's very much like you're in the middle of the second act. You're waiting for the show to be over and has this weird out of nowhere like music breakdown in the show. And you're just like, where they probably like in the show, they probably just wrote this as a filler basically. And so, but yeah, it's an interesting song, but I would probably skip that one. Yeah.
I would say my 3 buy it would either be Oh Lord or maybe Count Me Out. I really like both of those songs a lot. They really drag me in. Playlisted, I got Wanna Be Angel, perfect song, great song, definitely one I want to hear again. And then skip it, I put Connect. I don't know. There was just something listening to it. I was like, I just don't really hear it. I don't hear something in here that makes me want to keep listening to it. I'm like, I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, I think that's a song that starts like really strong.
Yeah.
And I kind of lose it in the verses. Like I love that chorus is great. And it's such like, I love the way they start with like the acapella choir and the beatboxing and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. But then like, I kind of want that energy to stay. And then it kind of like dips in the verse a little bit. So yeah, I like that song a lot. But just I understand why you want to skip it. I understand that.
I agree with what you're saying. There's elements that are cool, but it just doesn't really come together the way that I want it to. But you know, that's me.
Yeah,
that's me.
Exactly.
Maybe other people love that song. I don't know. But Chad, listen, this has been a fantastic conversation. Again, as I said earlier, in no scenario did I think that I would ever be talking about Foxy Shazam on this show. So I'm so glad you came to the table with this album from 2010, the Foxy Shazam self-titled album. You mentioned it earlier in our conversation. We were kind of getting the rundown of what you're up to. You said hopefully some new music, some solo music next year, I guess. That's what we can look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm writing a good bit right now of like and just figuring out because I've never, like I said, I've never done a solo project before, and I was in bands for 10 years and like doing different things. I was in a rock band for a while. I was in a country band for a while. I have a whole lot of different influences, and I'm just figuring out now. Okay, like what do I have to contribute? What do I want to say? What's going to feel the most authentic to me? And I'm searching for that right now. And that's been aggravating, but it's also been incredibly like liberating as well. Of just like when like there've been a couple songs I've written now that I'm just like, okay, this is the vibe. This is it. And so I hopefully like my plan is I want to like the first thing I want to do, because I was in bands for 10 years, I want to do something that's a little bit more low key, a bit more acoustic, a bit more just like song, like focus on the song and let the song shine rather than like the production and stuff like that. And so that's what I'm working on right now. Hopefully in the next year we'll have something. But I will keep you posted, man. I'll keep you posted with all of that.
I can't wait to hear it. For anybody else listening who might not already be familiar with your work, where do they go to find more about you?
Well, I'm on all the socials. I'm starting to post more like music stuff and just different stuff. I'm at Chad M Jervis everywhere. And if you want to like go listen to the King Callaway stuff, that's stuff I'm really proud of. Um, I was in a rock band called the House on Cliff that we released a couple EPs and a couple singles that I'm really proud of as well. And those are from years ago. So if anyone wants to take a deep dive into the history of Chad Michael Jervis, go look up the House on Cliff, go look up King Callaway, two bands and two projects that I'm incredibly proud of the work that we did. And yeah, just look out for more. Follow me for more stuff for the future.
I can't wait to hear more, Chad. I appreciate all of your time here today in this conversation. If you see any of the other guys from King Callaway, please pass my love along. I have
Absolutely,
a lot of appreciation for all of you guys. But hopefully we'll talk again soon. But thank you again, Chad. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate you, man.
Big thank you to Chad Michael Jervis for his time. As he mentioned, if you want to follow along with his musical journey, you can find him on social media as at Chad M. Jervis on just about all the platforms. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to hearing what he's got coming our way in 2026. He's such a talented guy. And thank you again to all of you for listening to the Unskippables. I really hope that we get another episode in before the end of the year. But if not, have a great holiday. Enjoy your new year, and we'll talk soon.